When local growers put great food on Tennessee tables, that's living green. Tonight on Live Green Tennessee, we'll head down to Chattanooga to see how one family started a market that provides locally grown foods to citizens of the area. Next, we'll visit Knoxville, where the slow food movement is gaining momentum and promoting smart eating to the whole community. Finally, we'll go to Crossville, where the city has recently finished improvements at Centennial Park that are not only beautifying, but helping with stormwater runoff. All this and more on Live Green Tennessee coming up next.
This program is brought to you in part by...
Behind every Pick Tennessee Products logo is a Tennessee farmer who brings you fresh, local food grown with the kind of pride that gets handed down through generations. From now through fall, you can find Tennessee fruits and vegetables on farms and at farmers markets near you. Find your Tennessee farmers at picktnproducts.org.
What makes our state unique? Find out on the new Tennessee Channel, a statewide initiative by your public television stations. Each program is created in Tennessee, about Tennessee, and broadcast in Tennessee.
The Tennessee Channel, Saturdays 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern and Sundays 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on your public television station.
Funding for this program was provided in part by the United States Department of Agriculture. Connecting the grower to the buyer, the country to the city, and smart shopping with a healthy lifestyle. It's Live Green Tennessee.
Hello, I'm Melinda Kiefer, and I'm proud to bring you stories from across our great state on Live Green Tennessee. In 2009, the Keener family of Sequatchie Farm near Chattanooga was having trouble finding places to sell their produce. Having heard similar complaints from other local farmers, the family decided to do something about it. What began as a few vendors in downtown parking lot has since grown into a vibrant, thriving market that is now providing the Chattanooga area with locally grown sustainable food. WTCI's Emily Compton shows us how this market is bringing local food and a new opportunity for education to this community.
We're at the Main Street Farmers Market. We set up on the south side of Chattanooga, Tennessee from 4 to 6 every Wednesday afternoon, and we provide locally grown and sustainably raised produce for the Chattanooga area. Vendors start to arrive around 3 o'clock, and everyone comes in and starts to set up very busily, and once they have their booths set up, everybody waits for me to ring the bell. I ring a dinner bell to let everybody know that the farmers market is open, and then it's time to shop.
6 out of 10. One thing I noticed today is that how bright the vegetables are. One of the growers was commenting how the colors, because everything was just harvested probably this morning or late last night, and the colors just pop out of off their stand.
With our farm, we don't have a walk-in cooler, so we harvest everything the day we come. So we get up early and start picking all of our vegetables, and we put them in coolers, wash them real good, put them in coolers, and then pack everything up and come down here.
We go to the farm first thing in the morning and pick whatever product's ready and in season, take it home, wash it, prepare it, get everything ready, and then by the time we finish that, we're coming to the market to set up. So it's a long day, but it's fun.
The Main Street Farmers Market was originally intended to bring local farmers together with people who are interested in consuming food that is raised locally. To be a vendor at the Main Street Farmers Market, they need to be farming within 75 miles of radius of Chattanooga so that we keep it local. We want the food sold here to reflect what the soil in our area will produce. Many of them also have an interest in eating food that's raised sustainably and ethically. The folks who sell here, if they grow vegetables, they're using practices that don't involve harmful pesticides and fertilizers that can be very strong and bad for our environment. And if they're raising animals, they're doing it on pasture, they're feeding them what nature intended to feed them.
Our customers are very discerning in what they want. They want what's best for themselves and for their family, and I feel like the local farmers at this market are meeting that need.
We see our food is keeping us healthy because we know that there are no bad chemicals on them, that we know that we're eating out of dirt that still has minerals. We know that the green is real green, the orange is real orange, it's not a dye.
And the difference in taste is just magnificent. I mean, you know, it's not like it's sitting around somewhere and coming to you and all that time passes. You get it like the day they pick it or the day after they pick it, and then you're able to cook it and it just tastes so much better.
When a customer comes to the Main Street Farmers Market, they can definitely expect high quality. We are a year-round market, so they can come to us year-round and find whatever food is growing during that season. We sell produce, we sell cheeses, honey, sometimes fruit, a huge variety. And so whatever is available, whatever the soil is going to yield during that time of year, you can find it here.
Good, so then you can dry them, let them flour, then cut them off with some gloves on, hang them upside down, dry them. Then you can have tea out of the dried.
Everybody here is here to educate folks about the benefits of eating local food, eating healthy, whole foods, cooking at home with your family. A lot of people are very removed from that, from being in the supermarket culture for so many years. And they are here to show another way.
I think it's fun for people to get out and be outside and get to look at all the fresh produce, meet their farmer, meet the person that's growing their food, and ask them questions about, you know, how their produce has been treated, how the livestock's been treated, and really make that personal connection.
And you're learning. It's like the children come and they try all the herbs, the little girls today, smelling and tasting the lime leaves and the bay leaves. It's like accessible. You know, a grocery store is not accessible, and this is accessible, so it's fun and it's community.
For me, I think the best part about being at the farmers market is seeing who appreciates the food. I love knowing my customers and seeing their faces every week and being able to tell them, you know, how the farm's doing and what's coming up next, and know how they cook the food and what the recipes are.
We're individual farmers. We have to produce, you know, what we sell. So they're talking to the people who actually made this food. So there's honesty, and it's a way of saying, hey, maybe I could go have a backyard garden, or how do you grow this, or how do you cook with this, and when you go to a great big market, it's noisy, it's loud, and there are people there doing all kinds of things. You know, you're there for all kinds of reasons, but here it's all about the farmer and the food.
The food is fresher, you see the people that are actually taking care of the food, and you're supporting local businesses as well, because farms are local businesses, whether they're in Georgia or in Tennessee. I just think it's important to keep that farming aspect of the country alive.
So just knowing how many people are excited about this and knowing that local food is important to people is a really big motivation to keep doing what we do, because it's hard work. So knowing that people love it and appreciate it feels really good.
With thousands of members in over 150 countries, all 50 states and across the state of Tennessee, Slow Food is a grassroots movement that has become a way of living and eating. The Knoxville chapter strives to support good, clean, and fair food with a commitment to community and the environment. They do this through programs, potlucks, classes, and other events they co-host throughout the year. East Tennessee PBS's Chris Smith shows us how this grassroots movement is changing the way people think about food in East Tennessee.
Slow food started as the opposite to fast food, basically. About 25, 30 years ago, I think, there was a proposal to put a McDonald's on the Spanish Steps in Rome. And so a group of Italians got together and didn't want fast food coming into their everyday life in the middle of their city. And so they all got together and protested this McDonald's that was going into the middle of Rome. And so slow food started out of that. And basically, it's just an international organization that promotes healthy, clean, fair ways of getting food. So that's, we promote here in Knoxville a lot of local farms and local farming and growing your own vegetables and eating a well-balanced meal and stuff like that. That's what we promote. One of the main reasons that I got involved is stimulating the local economy. And I work really hard for my money, and everybody else works really hard for their money, especially nowadays. And so I want to know that my money is going directly to somebody that is working hard to create food that will nourish my body. There's Slow Food International, which is the international organization, and then we have Slow Food USA, which is the national United States organization, and then we have a chapter here in Knoxville called Slow Food Knoxville. One of the goals of Slow Food Knoxville is to promote restaurants that use local foods, to promote farmers markets and farmers and buying directly from the farmers, or local small grocery stores. We also promote events that other organizations are doing, such as Beardsley Community Farm. They have a lot of events and classes. We like to promote their things and help out and co-sponsor with them a lot. The Knoxville Permaculture Guild, they have a little bit of a different take on it, but we still have very similar interests, and so we promote a lot of things that they do. So basically, we kind of like to see ourselves as helping other organizations and helping other people do the slow food mission and, go through with the slow food mission, which is clean, fair, healthy food for everybody. It's a little bit of a different lifestyle to live by a slow food mission, to make sure that all of your food is clean and fair and a lot of times local. So if you're used to going to the grocery store and just picking up products off the shelves, a lot of times they're going to have a lot of stuff in them that you didn't know about. And so looking at labels is a good way to start thinking a little bit differently about where your food comes from. Most areas in Tennessee have a farmer's market, and you just have to find it and find out where it is. And then you'll find at farmer's markets there are a lot of different foods and vegetables that you probably have never heard of before, and that can be really fun. And talking to the farmers about how they grow the food and where their food comes from and how they decided to grow something versus the other and how to cook something. This is food that they eat themselves, and so they can give you some really good recipes. Thinking about food not just as something that we have to grab really quickly on the way to a meeting or work, or we don't have time to make dinner or something. Thinking about food and cooking food as an activity and a family-friendly activity and something that we can enjoy, and thinking about nourishing our bodies instead of grabbing something with all this processed stuff in it, is thinking about food that way is a totally different way of thinking about it, and it's really liberating and it's really interesting and it's quite fun. We try and have one event per month. They range from workshops to movie screenings to potlucks. Our potlucks are really popular. We try and move around Knoxville and have them at different places, and we ask that everybody bring a dish with a local ingredient in it, or $5 to contribute. And you can imagine everybody's a really good cook, and a lot of homemade vegetables and homemade dishes and homegrown things, and people really take the time to to make meals for these potlucks. And when we have the potlucks, we try and do it at a location that has a connection to the local community and local food community. For instance, we did one recently that was very successful. We had 35 to 40 people there, and it was at Sawworks Brewing Company. And so in addition to having a great potluck space and everybody can just gather around and talk about food and share food and, you know, shared interest of food, the co-owner took us on a tour of the brewery. And so, you know, that being a local brewery, it had a local flavor and they buy from local farms and things, and so that was really important to us. We also have done movie screenings. So a couple weeks ago we did a movie screening at Beardsley Community Farm. That was a good one for us. We liked that a lot. We also do classes. So recently we did a mixology class with the Oliver Hotel. That was a couple of months ago. And the bartender there showed us how to make cocktails with local ingredients like flowers and honeys and things you wouldn't normally think, you know, using those ingredients to make cocktails. So we have a good mix of things. We also do crop mobs where we go to local farms and work on their farms for them. So we try and do something about every month in addition to either co-sponsoring or co-partnering or promoting somebody else's stuff. I think the slow food movement is really gaining a lot of ground. To be honest, something that they struggled with for a while was this sense of being for rich people, because people have the perception that it takes a lot more money to buy local and fresh and stuff. And quite honestly, we've seen time and time again that that's not the case. Slow Food USA has reduced their membership fee so that more people can become involved. And then they're also promoting a lot of things that anybody can do, not just people that are very wealthy. And also some things that we're doing here in East Tennessee is working with underprivileged communities, especially Food in the Fort here in Knoxville. We're teaching those people that growing their own food can be very liberating, and also they can save a lot of money that way. Showing people that it is possible to live this way, and that's one of the things that we're working on.
Centennial Park in Crossville has always been a great place for the family to go, but now it has become more environmentally friendly. Dennis Gregg of the Obed Watershed Community Association, along with landscape architect Jenny Thurman, teamed up with the park to re-landscape existing storm drainage areas. They created a rain garden with native plants to help slow down the stormwater runoff as it enters the park and clean it before it goes into a tributary of the Obed River. WCTE's Steve Hobbs shows us how this landscaping is improving the environment of the park for the city of Crossville.
When we started, we basically were looking at the three drainages that run through the park and end up in a tributary of the Little Obed, which runs through the base of the park. And there tends to be a lot of impervious surface, which is surface that when water hits it, it runs directly across it. It does not absorb. There tends to be a lot of impervious surface across the street with lots of industrial rooftop and lots of parking. The park itself has a lot of parking area, as you would need for a recreational area like this. And so what was happening is we're having a lot of drainage stormwater quickly running through these drainages and causing erosion because it was not slowed down. It was just coming through as quickly as it could, especially during a heavy storm. And those sorts of big onslaughts into a ditch can create the erosion, and it moves so quickly into the stream. It carries pollutants and silt, which are very fine particles of soil, which aren't necessarily beneficial to the stream. The great thing about this kind of project is that we're holding the water on site, and we're helping to remove some of the pollutants from that stormwater that has run off so quickly and come into the site before it hits a tributary. And we want to ultimately prevent flooding. And so then when we have this little piece that can slow it down, and even if our peak flows that hit Centennial Park can be delayed just a few hours, that can be beneficial to how it hits the river. It's really a great thing that plants are functioning and working for us to help us sort of mitigate what we've done in terms of creating this polluted water that's coming so quickly onto the site before it reaches our streams.
What's behind me is the largest and biggest part of the project, where we changed the way the water flows after rains through the park and tried to slow it down, give it opportunities to soak in and to create a more natural vegetation system. The whole Little Obed is impaired according to the state of Tennessee. It doesn't function the way it should, and part of it is because of erosion and sediment coming into the stream. And a lot of that comes from when it rains, you get this runoff, gets moving quickly, and it starts to cut into the bank. So the park here had a number of places where it was eroding, and we wanted to get that to stop so that the stream on the bottom could begin to recover. But you can't clean up the river at the bottom if you don't worry about what's up on top. And so whether you get trash or oil or pollutants or dirt, and dirt can be really bad, you have to start up at the top. And I like to talk about dirt because a lot of people go, well, dirt's natural. It's true, it is natural, but there's an amount that can really make it hard for the critters that live in the water to survive. And I say it's like being over for a family dinner and everybody around the table lights up a cigar. It's pretty hard to breathe. And it's the same thing for the critters that live in the water. They get their oxygen from the water, but if you fill up the water with a lot of dirt, then it's hard for them, their gills get coated and it's hard for them to breathe. One of the things that can degrade a stream is having the banks crumble, having the banks collapse, having trees fall in, things like that. And one of the things that helps protect that is having vegetation on the banks and having the banks be stable. So we actually did 4 projects here. There's the large project, which is highly visible to everybody that you can see, but the World Wildlife Fund funded us with a small grant to come in. There are 2 small wetlands here to remove the species that didn't belong here, that were taking it over. We call those invasive species, and to restore them the way they should have been. Wetlands do a great job of collecting water during a storm and slowly filtering it. So those are important features to keep. The second thing we did was there were places where the park had been mowing right to the edge of the bank and the banks were collapsing. So we planted and created a buffer area anywhere from 10 to 20 feet wide, where we get vegetation there and also in the bank. And then the third piece we did was we actually went into parts of the stream itself and reshaped and stabilized the banks so that the banks would stop eating away and eroding.
Several areas where well-intended maintenance folks would put concrete because that was an eroded area, but in the long run the water eroded around it, so we had these great swaths of concrete little runways that were almost, airborne because they didn't have any soil underneath them really. So we had to have those removed, and then we had to do some grading work, and we had to excavate for the series of rain gardens. Well, we looked at how we might basically deal with these erosion issues through landscaping. For the most part, we planted a lot of native trees and shrubs along the areas where our plantings would be close to the walking trail that exists through the site. We also planted rain gardens and the bank edges of some of the drainways and the wetlands with herbaceous material or perennial things that would come and flower and have seasonal interest, some smaller plant material. And we also used a little bit of rock work in certain areas to strategically either clean up an eroded area with small retaining walls, or to create small weirs inside the drainages that help kind of slow down the water in addition to the plantings. And these plants, they can provide the same benefits that most gardeners enjoy: fall color, beautiful bloom, nice shape, and textures with different leaf textures and so forth, flowering plants. And it's a great way to sort of showcase those plants that are often underutilized by a lot of homeowners.
A lot of what we've done looks like landscaping, and really is landscaping, but it's landscaping with a different vision. It's not landscaping with how do we get the water to get off of our property. It's how do we get the water to absorb in our property. You've got areas that are intense use, the ball fields and these other places, but the rest of the park has other values. And so now more and more people are using it as a walking place, recreation place, and they appreciate the birds and the wildlife and the beauty and the shade when they get to walk around.
Join us next time when we go to Middle Tennessee, where Holt's Bee Farm is sustaining the bee population and providing fresh honey to the community. Then we head down to Chattanooga, where the 212 Market Restaurant is serving high-end organic food. Finally, we'll visit Aaron's Meadow Herb Farm in Clinton. All this next time on Live Green Tennessee, where we'll bring you more news about the farmers and businesses who are making the move to eating fresh and living green possible for us all. If you'd like more information about Live Green Tennessee, please visit our website at livegreentv.org, where you'll find everything from healthy recipes to past episodes and much more.
This program is brought to you in part by...
Behind every Pick Tennessee Products logo is a Tennessee farmer who brings you fresh, local food grown with the kind of pride that gets handed down through generations. From now through fall, you can find Tennessee fruits and vegetables on farms and at farmers markets near you. Find your Tennessee farmers at picktnproducts.org.
What makes our state unique? Find out on the new Tennessee Channel, a statewide initiative by your public television stations. Each program is created in Tennessee, about Tennessee, and broadcast in Tennessee.
The Tennessee Channel, Saturdays 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern and Sundays 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on your public television station.
Funding for this program was provided in part by the United States Department of Agriculture and by the generous support of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.